Ugly walls eating up your garden space? Boring fences making your yard look dull? Those old sheds sitting there doing nothing? I'm about to show you how climbing plants can turn all that wasted space into something absolutely stunning. I'm Sam, and here on Seniors Gardening Advice, we make gardening simple, enjoyable, and rewarding for everyone. Listen, if you find this helpful, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Trust me, you'll want to catch every single tip we share here. Also, give this video a thumbs up and drop a comment telling me which climber you're most excited to try. Let's build this gardening community together. The fantastic thing about climbing plants? There's literally one for every single spot in your garden. Doesn't matter if you've got full sun, deep shade, or something in between. We've got you covered. I've handpicked 7 different climbing plants that will handle just about any situation you can throw at them. These are tried, tested, and absolutely brilliant.
Plant 1. Star Jasmine. Let me start with one of the most powerful climbers in any garden, Star Jasmine. You might see it labeled as Trachelospermum or sometimes Rhynchospermum at the garden center. This beauty is evergreen, which means it keeps its leaves all year round. No bare stems in winter here. The stems are incredibly twiny. They twist and wrap around anything they can grab. This plant is seriously vigorous. The one I'm standing next to towers well above my head, and it's still got plenty of growing left in it. I'm about 5'8", just so you know for reference. This thing will easily reach higher than that. When you bring one of these home, it'll probably be all bunched up with those little plastic ties holding everything together. First thing you need to do, remove those ties carefully. Then spread those stems out nice and wide across whatever framework you want it to cover. Could be a fence, a trellis, or even a shed. Once you've done that, this plant will absolutely race away. Star Jasmine loves a sunny spot. Give it plenty of sunshine, and you'll be rewarded with these gorgeous white flowers that smell absolutely incredible. The fragrance is something special, sweet, rich, and it fills the whole area. Perfect for a sunny wall, fence, or shed where you want both beauty and scent.
Plant 2. Climbing Hydrangea. Now, let's talk about those tricky spots, north-facing walls or east-facing areas that don't get much sun. Most plants struggle in these locations, but not the climbing hydrangea. Its proper name is Hydrangea petiolaris, and this is one of the most dependable climbers you can plant in shade. The brilliant thing about climbing hydrangea is that it's a self-clinger. It doesn't need wires or trellis. It has these special aerial roots, similar to ivy, and it literally glues itself to the wall as it grows and spreads. You just plant it and let it do its thing. The flowers appear in late spring and early summer, flat clusters of creamy white blooms that stand out beautifully against the foliage. Now, I should mention, this plant is deciduous, which means the leaves will fall off in winter. But during the growing season, it will cover a huge area on a wall that's often too shady for most other climbers to cope with. This is your go-to solution for those difficult shady walls where nothing else seems to work. And before I forget, if you're enjoying these tips, please share this video with your gardening friends. Knowledge is meant to be shared, and your friends will thank you for it.
Plant 3. Honeysuckle. Moving on to another shade lover, honeysuckle is a native woodland species, so it's perfectly happy growing in dappled shade or semi-shaded spots. No need for full sun here. The flowers are spidery and delicate looking, but the real star of the show is that glorious honeysuckle fragrance. Absolutely heavenly. The wild type of honeysuckle has flower buds tinged with red, but the variety I'm showing you here is called Sensation, and it has more yellow-toned flowers. The name tells you everything you need to know. It's sensational. You get masses of flowers in spring and summer, and it keeps going, sputtering along through the rest of the year. The stems are twining, which means they naturally wrap around supports. As they grow, loosely loop them in and guide them to cover the area you want to fill. Very easy to work with. The scent alone makes this worth growing. Position it near a seating area or along a path where you'll brush past it and release that wonderful perfume.
Plant 4. Clematis. These plants produce absolutely massive flowers. I'm talking about really impressive blooms. The one I've got here is a variety called Shimmer, and it has large purple flowers that are just stunning. Most of these large flowered varieties give you a couple of good flushes of blooms each year. Now, the most vigorous clematis out there is Clematis montana. You've probably seen this one scrambling over hedges and fences everywhere, covered in bright pink flowers in early spring. This particular variety is so vigorous it could cover the side of a cathedral. Seriously. It grows incredibly fast and spreads like crazy. So here's the important bit. If you've got a small area you want to cover, do not, I repeat, do not choose Clematis montana. You'll be overwhelmed. Instead, pick one of the large flowered varieties like Shimmer. These come in purple, pink, crimson, or white, and they're much more manageable for smaller spaces. Here's a golden rule for clematis. They like their roots in shade and their heads in the sun. When you're planting one, lay a flat stone or piece of flagstone over the area around the roots. This stops the sun from hitting the soil directly, which prevents it from drying out. Simple trick, huge difference.
Plant 5. Solanum. On the end here, I've got a solanum called Glasnevin, named after a famous Irish botanical garden. This is more of a shrubby climber, really. Unlike some of the others, this one doesn't cling on its own. You'll need to tie it in as it grows. What I love about this plant is the flower color. Apart from the purple clematis, most climbers have white, pink, or yellow flowers. This solanum brings something different to the table with its unique coloring in summer. This particular plant is especially good if you're short on space. There's a neat way to train it in smaller areas that works brilliantly. Let me show you how to plant this one properly in a container. Planters in containers like this are incredibly useful. You can position them anywhere, even in limited space. I'm filling this with a loam-based compost, John Innes No. 3 to be specific. This mix has plenty of fertilizer already in it, and it's peat-free, which is better for the environment. This rich compost will give the solanum plenty of nutrients to thrive. Always leave a gap at the top of the container, about an inch or so, to allow room for watering. If you fill it right to the brim, the water will just run off the sides. The great advantage of loam-based compost is stability. It provides excellent anchorage because there's more weight to it. This makes the whole container much more bottom-heavy instead of top-heavy, so it's less likely to blow over in wind. We use richer compost in containers than regular garden soil for an important reason. When you plant something in the ground, in a bed or border, it has unlimited space to spread its roots. The roots can search far and wide for food and water, but in a container, the plant is confined, the roots are restricted, so the compost needs to be much richer just to sustain healthy growth. Right, let's get this planted. Tip the plant out of its pot, fingers spread across the top to support it. Make sure it's been well watered before you do this. That's crucial. You might lose a bit of compost from the top. Don't worry about that. Give the pot a good thump and ease the plant out. Sometimes they stick a bit to the sides of the pot. Look at this root system. This is the perfect condition for a pot-grown plant. There are enough roots coming out, but it's not a massive tangled mess. It's not pot-bound. This means the plant is in the ideal state for transplanting. When you're putting any plant in, make sure it's sitting upright. Also check there are no air pockets around the root ball. Air pockets will cause the plant to dry out because water can't reach the roots properly. Firm it in well. Most climbers nowadays come fastened with thin plastic tape that's stapled to hold them in position. You can pull these off fairly easily. Find where the staple is, then just pull the tape apart and free the stems. Take those support canes out too. Fill in the holes with compost using your fingers. I've got two main stems here. You need to be quite careful at this point because sometimes the stems are brittle. If you pull them apart too roughly, they'll snap. I'll tie these two stems on either side, spreading them out in a V shape, like a victory sign. Make your ties tight enough to hold the plant in place, but leave plenty of slack. If you tie them really tight, you'll constrict the stem and eventually it would break off or die. Just tight enough to secure it, not too tight. That's the balance you're looking for.
I'll tie this smaller stem in a bit later when it's grown a bit stronger and longer, but I've already got decent coverage starting here. When it comes to watering things in containers, as long as you know you've got plenty of drainage holes at the bottom, don't be afraid to give them a really thorough soaking. Remember, plants use water down at the roots, not up at the leaves. That's where they need it most, and that's where you should be directing your hose or watering can. There we go. Grow well and enjoy your summer display. And while we're talking about planting, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Hit that subscribe button now. We post helpful gardening advice every single week, and I promise you'll learn something new in every video. Let's grow together. Plant 6, Black-Eyed Susan. Not every climber is perennial, meaning they don't all come back year after year. Some climbers are annual, which means they grow, flower, and die all in one season. And this little beauty here is a perfect example. Common name, Black-Eyed Susan. One look and you'll understand why. Those dark centers are unmistakable. The variety I'm showing you is called Thunbergia, and it's a lovely annual climber. You can plant this in a fairly large pot and train it up a tripod or wigwam made of canes. It'll give you continuous color from late spring and early summer right through to autumn. The show is absolutely spectacular throughout that entire summer period. But, and here's the catch, when frost arrives, it'll die. It won't survive the winter. But honestly, what a show it puts on during those warm months. The bright flowers and vigorous growth make it well worth planting fresh each year. This is perfect for adding seasonal color to patios, balconies, or anywhere you want a temporary but stunning display.
Plant 7, Wisteria. When it comes to truly impressive climbers, absolutely nothing, and I mean nothing, beats Wisteria. When you get a good year, the spectacle and the perfume are just breathtaking, absolutely incredible. The cascading flowers hang down in long clusters, dripping with blooms in shades of purple, blue, or white, depending on the variety. The fragrance is intoxicating, sweet, romantic, and powerful enough to fill an entire garden. Now, I will say this, it does irritate me a bit that in the TV show Bridgerton, the wisteria is there all year round. That's because it's plastic. In reality, wisteria blooms for a few glorious weeks in late spring and early summer, but those weeks are pure magic. Wisteria needs a strong support structure because it becomes very heavy as it matures. It also needs regular pruning to keep it flowering well and to prevent it from taking over completely. But if you've got the space and the right support, it's an absolute showstopper. So those are 7 of my absolute favorite climbing plants. Each one brings something special to the garden, whether it's fragrance, flower power, foliage coverage, or the ability to thrive in difficult spots. Now, it's your turn. I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me which of these climbers would make it into your top 7. Or maybe you've got a favorite climber I didn't mention here. Share your thoughts. Gardening has genuinely changed my life for the better. It's brought me peace, purpose, and so much joy. And I want to show you how it can do the same for you. Here on Seniors Gardening Advice, we're building a community of passionate gardeners who support each other, share tips, and celebrate the simple pleasure of growing things. I post new videos every single week, packed with practical advice you can actually use. So if you haven't subscribed yet, click that subscribe button right now. Hit the bell so you never miss an upload. And please, like this video and share it with anyone who could use some gardening inspiration. Let's get gardening together. See you in the next video. Happy growing!